schools, colleges, education. These topics are something which trouble any family when they move from one country to the other. So thank you for joining us again. This is part 2 of our discussion with Adi on the education system in US, how it is different from the education system in India. And this podcast is specifically for those people who are moving with their families over here, who have got kids and whose kids are going to go through this education system in US. In the last podcast, in the last episode of this discussion, we had lots of great insights from Adi. In today's podcast, or in today's episode, we are going to go more deeper. We are going to touch upon topics which we haven't covered in the previous episode. All right. So with this, let's begin with the House of Roys. Tell me one thing, how costly is this entire schooling system? In the sense, my kid goes to public school, it's not that costly, right? But the preschool is definitely costly over here.
Yeah.
How costly it is?
It's like, depending on where it is $600 per week. If it is an infant, it's up to $1,000 per week. Because infants are more time consuming.
Okay.
So...
All right.
I mean, I'm giving you the upwards number.
Of course.
Preschool, okay. Preschool is not just preschool, it's daycare. So the daycare starts from infants and then toddlers and then young preschool and then preschool. And people who cannot get into regular kindergarten, daycare offers kindergarten too. They call it alternate kindergarten. All right. So the fees for that anywhere ranges from so if you are an infant, it's upwards of $1,000. I'm giving you the upward value, okay? Minimum upward value. So it can be anywhere from like, I think, if I remember right, it's anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a week per child. Say you're a family, you have 2 kids, you still have to pay per child, but you might get like some amount off. So you might, and instead of paying $2,000 per week, you probably will end up paying $1,500 per week for 2 kids.
Wow.
But still per kid, up max of $1,000 per week if it's an infant, because infants are more time consuming. You have to feed them every 2 hours. You have to change diaper every 2 hours and things like that. And then it also depends on how many days a week, right? 5 days a week, it's going to cost more money. They'll have like 1 to 2, 2 to 3. It'll be lesser and lesser, maybe like 800, 750. But still, it's nothing cheaper. There are cheaper options that are not daycare, which are either like at home, like not certified nanny, but they are not certified. These people are certified. They run the school for this. They have all the credentials, certifications, whatever you need. But then you have your less options. And then so. After that, if you are a toddler, it is upwards of $600 per week. Again, depending on how many days a week. If you are, as they grow older and they're in daycare, it's a little cheaper. So at preschool, which is like 3, 4, 5 years, I think it's upwards of $500 per week. $450 to $500 per week, which is significantly cheaper than what you would have started with when they were an infant.
Wow.
But again, it's per week basis. But there are really good daycares. I mean, like certain daycares, it's practically like a school. They have a curriculum. The kids would have just climbed a five stairs. Okay, the way they write it, they're like, oh, today this kid worked on their gross motor skills and they exercised this muscle. And I'm like, they climbed stairs.
Yeah.
Like what? They climbed stairs. A kid climbs stairs every day.
Yeah, no, true. It's
a lucrative market. I mean, if I could start a daycare, I'm probably going to be rich in no time. But it's also like dog job, right? Like it's not a very thankful job. Like a kid gets. So another thing is, kids are not sick. Kid is on vacation. You still have to pay the daycare, but you have to keep them home. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's daycare and preschool. Now, after preschool, it becomes cheaper because then the school is started.
Public school,
and it's public school. And what I've seen is that the public school in here is quite nice, much better than the public schools in India. I would
Of
never
course,
send
yes.
my kid in
Yes,
public school in
yes,
India for sure.
yes.
But here it's awesome. But a lot of my colleagues, they send their kids to private schools and they are exuberantly costly.
Yep.
Can you tell me how costly they are and is it worth?
So private school for higher grade ranges, right? Or are they sending them for private school from their like young age?
I think they are sending them for, no, right now they are in public school and they are going to some Russian school as well. And then later, some Russian school of mathematics.
Are they in Acton? Yeah, there is an RSM in Acton. Yeah.
Whatever, that's happening. And then later they are planning to put their kid completely into private school.
So for 9th onwards, probably.
Maybe something like that.
Okay, so I can now, I got the clarity I needed. So that is mostly what I've seen in Desi families or Asian families or people who have the money, who, an individual putting their kid in private school has a lot of reasons. For Desis, it's probably because they want their kid to go to Ivy League or second tier Ivy League. So they think that private school will be a one-stop shop where they will prepare them for whatever it is they need to get into Ivy League. Same for Asians. Americans in general, again, they will put them in private school because of religious reasons, because sometimes they might feel that public school is ruining a perfectly Catholic person or a perfectly Jewish person or a perfectly religious aspect of a person, or they might feel like their kids are getting ruined in public school for whatever reasons, political reasons, personal reasons, religious reasons. So they put them in private school. And then there are rich people. They're like, nah, my kid is too good for public school. They can go to the private school because that's where all their families and friends or the legacy admissions, what you say, like their dads would have gone there, moms would have gone there, stuff like that. So this is the whole umbrella of reasons as to why people go to public school. Public school or private school, my bad, sorry. And private school is expensive. It is as expensive as a private 4-year undergrad college. For instance, I for 1 year went to University of Rochester. It's a private undergrad. I mean, it has bachelor's, master's and stuff. I went there for undergrad, 1 year. Per year, the tuition was $65K. Per year. Same tuition, private school for 9 through 12. So it goes anywhere from $45K a year upwards of $80K a year.
Wow.
I've never seen anything lower than that.
Is it worth?
If you ask me personally, I don't think so. I mean, yes, it's worth it. If you have the money and you can afford that, sure, it's worth it, because those schools have a reputation to maintain. Come what may, they'll find a way to get you into at least, if not a second tier, a Big Ten school. So yes, in a way, it's worth it.
No, worth it when? Before undergrad or during undergrad?
Before undergrad. I mean, private school and undergrad is very common. You go to a state school, you go to a private school. I'll come to that discussion later. Let's finish the high school first. So for 4 years before you go to undergrad, yes, it is worth it in a sense, because those private schools have a reputation to maintain, and they will find a way to send their students to, if not an Ivy League, second tier Ivy League, or at least a third tier Ivy League, what I would say Big Ten schools. Okay. But if you personally ask me, is it worth it? If you have the money and if the kid has the aptitude, why not go ahead, try it? Public schools are just as good in this state, in this country, goddammit. Like in US, public schools are really great. Sometimes I feel like kids are more stressed out in private schools because it's like grind. You're not doing an extracurricular because you want to. They're going to probably be doing violin because this other person is doing violin and they have to stand out. They're writing symphonies because that's what an Ivy League wants. You have to do something because you want to do it. Like these are like fun years of your life. Yeah, you have to study. Yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't study, but also don't forget to have a little bit of fun. By the time you get to our age, you look back and like, what did I do? Yeah, so I think in a way it is worth it for whoever can afford it. But overall, if you ask me, there is no point, because kids need their life too. You get to be that age only once. Enjoy your prom, enjoy your homecoming, enjoy small fights with your friends. You shouldn't be worrying about which college is going to accept me. Yeah, you should worry, sure, okay. But I mean, if old me now, I mean, I'm not that old, okay. Older me now, if I get a chance to go to my teenage me, I would be like, Stop worrying about not impressing Mr. Odell. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
Cool. So my learning from this is that if you have enough money, maybe at the 10th grade, you can send your kid to a private school,
Yeah.
and they might help the kid to get into a good undergrad school.
Yeah. So like the thing with Desi parents or Asian parents, like you think they're competitive in India, or they are a different breed in this country.
I
man.
heard about that. Yeah.
Oh my God. Whew. I had a friend, him and his sister, they're really bright students, okay? Summer before their, I think he was going to go to 9th grade, she was going to go to 3rd grade. The summer before that. So school here starts in September, right? So summer is June, July, August. 3 months, their mom gets their respective next grade books. So she's in what, 3rd grade? He's going to go in whatever grade I just said, I forgot. They get that books. Mom will put a timetable, a schedule. From X to Y time in per day, doesn't matter if they are free, doesn't matter if they have their violin or piano, or if they have to come to my house to hang out, or if it's my brother's birthday, or if we're having a summer pool party, or if it's a holy party, or if it's a dance practice, doesn't matter. They have to finish that and come.
Wow.
They will prep ahead for the coming year so that the kids are challenged, so the kids can stand out, so the kids can go to the honor program. So Desi parents are like that. Desi parents are Asian parents in general, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, doesn't matter. We are far more competitive to the max in this country than whatever I remember back in India. Like here, your kid is in packed algebra. Oh, my kid is in advanced geometry. She's already learning this. I'm like, oh my God. Good Lord, my parents were personally not like that. I think they kind of were, but then I looked at them like, please, no, please, like I'm a good student, just leave me be. And I was not in a school district with heavy Indians.
Sure.
Like my mom and dad are kind of peculiar in the sense that they love Indian people, but they don't want to be around Indian people all the time because they also know it can be toxic or competitive at times. So in the area we lived in, Cedar Rapids, in the school district I went to, me and only 2 other Indian people were there in school. So it was not very much of a pressure point for me. The only pressure points I got were in my dance. My mom would be like, she's doing Jai Ho. You're going to do Kehna Hai Kya. And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, she's doing Arangetram on September. You're doing Arangetram in August. And I'm like, Mama. That's the only sort of competitiveness. But Desi parents are a completely different breed. They are what we call helicopter parents. They're always there. They're there at your violin class. They're there at your piano class.
Crazy.
They'll put you in every single activity. There is a summer camp in Brown, they'll push you there. There's a summer camp in Harvard, they'll push you there. Because they want you to be the best of the best of the best of the best, so that you get into that high school, higher ranked school, Ivy League or second tier or whatever. For us, for our community, for our Asian community, name matters.
Right.
Some parents are okay. They're even okay with sending kids to a state school, state university. Other parents are like Case Western or Northwestern or BU or BC or Rochester or UC Davis or whatever. So yeah, Desi parents can be a little overbearing at times.
Yeah, that's fair. I get what you're saying, and it's to me it's annoying.
Yeah, me too.
But I also heard that wherever the Desis are in higher numbers, whichever state or whichever school district, or if the Chinese or the Desis, they are in higher numbers, the ranking of the school district goes up.
Yes. I mean, that inherently is because of our culture, right? We instill so much importance on education. Like from a young age, every single example or every single thing, it's like, how many this, how many that, what is this, what is that? You have to study. If you don't study, you don't get a good job. You don't get a good job. You don't get a good husband or wife. You don't get a good husband or wife. You're not going to have a good life, no good house, no good car, right?
Yeah.
You're from a young age drilled with that. You need to study. You need to study. Whether if you're from a low socioeconomic background, you study. That's your way out. If you're from a high socioeconomic background, you need to study to maintain your parents' reputation. You're from a middle class. Education is a way to get whatever the upper class people have. Education. That's what we've been taught, right? The way my family operates, they focus on education. but at the same time they also focus on extracurricular.
Mm-hmm.
But they make sure that I know that extracurricular is just that, extracurricular. So my dad and mom, even my grandparents, like my grandparents were the ones who introduced me to everything that I know of in terms of like my tata put me in partis class, Carnatic music class. My tata put me in Bharatanatyam class. My party put me in keyboard. Both of them put me in gymnastics. Sports wasn't too popular when I was growing up in India. Otherwise, they would have put me in sports. They even put me in karate class. But at the same time, my tata and pati, they made sure, my grandpa, grandma, they made sure I understood the importance of school and that I was not wasting too much of my time there, and that I kept my grades up. If my grades slipped, I won't be able to go to a class. Like I love dance. I'm a trained Bharatanatyam dancer. But if I did not get a 95% in one exam, Tatama or my grandma will be like, nope, no class today. You get the next test, you get that, I'll send you back to class again.
Wow.
So they made sure I know. Like when they realized I was good at something, they helped me grow there. But at the same time, they made sure I knew that this was where my paycheck was coming from. That was just a hobby. Yeah. That is just an associate paycheck. Sure. This was my primary paycheck. So I think like a lot of Desi parents, that is our generation, are opting that. But the generation before us that came are very much, I think they're like, I know people call me an ABCD. I am not American born, okay? I am not confused, but I'm a Desi. So me or younger, they call them ABCDs. And the parents of ABCDs, if they are also like, they've lived here in the US for as long as we have, they are not as strict as what their parents came in with.
Got it.
So like first generation people who came here are super strict. Or the people who are now coming here also are kind of like super strict. And I don't blame them because that's the environment they're in. That's what they see. But I hope that the climate is changing for younger and younger generation of Indian people where their parents are not competitive enough that it's ruining them. Because at a time it became very toxic for me. Like my brother and I were so glad to leave Iowa. Like we missed our friends like crazy, but there was a point when my parents were not, like I said, my parents were not, but other parents were, and it was just affecting us so much.
Sure, yeah.
So
now I think it's a kind of a adaptation to the culture shock that somebody faces when they move. So what happens is India is already competitive.
Yes.
And the ideal response would be to embrace the culture over here once you move here. Rather than that, what they do is that they enhance their existing cultural legacy.
Yeah.
And the cultural legacy was strict.
Oh my god, this should be another podcast. Like I have so many stories on this regard. Like I swear to God, we should do another podcast
Let's
on this.
do that. Yeah.
Because it's like you can take the Indian out of India, but you can never take of the India out of an Indian person. Sure. No matter where they go, they're going to be Desis. But I feel like after coming to the US, they're just like, oh my god, is my kid going to be completely American? Oh my god, is my kid going to have a boyfriend? Oh my god, is my kid not going to listen to it? Oh my god, this. Oh my god, I'm like, assimilate. Let them be. They're not going to fall. They're not going to forget their Desi roots.
So they start hyper focusing rather than letting it off.
Yeah, there is so much beauty in the education system here. If you don't hyper focus, you can utilize it to the max.
Absolutely.
How many kids, like I got the opportunity to be a student representative in my school district's board. How many kids get that opportunity in India? Please tell me. You get so many leadership opportunities. You get to meet and talk with a senator. You get to meet and interact with a hospital professional, a surgeon. Like so many beautiful things that the school system has to offer.
Sure.
Whether it's in your before college or during college or after college. Like colleges are expensive. Like it is a wallet bleeder, mind you, to go to college here. State schools offer, if you're an in-state student, and you go to that particular state school, you have a different tuition rate than if you are an out-of-state student, than if you were an international student. Internationals coming in for bachelors have a very high tuition rate. Internationals who are students interstate. So say somebody from Connecticut is wanting to study in a state school or a private school. A private school is general. So private school doesn't have the tuition variation. Doesn't matter what state where you're coming from. It's if it is 65,000 a year, it's 65,000 a year.
Even for international students?
Internationals, it's a little higher.
Okay.
But state-operated schools, so UMass system or the New York state system, SUNY system, or California state system or Iowa state system, it has a state tuition for state residents, and it has a out-of-state tuition for out-of-state residents. In-state residents, I think for Massachusetts at least, the tuition rate has gone up. It was like $15,000 or $20,000 per year when I went. I think it's upwards of $30,000 per year, maybe. Again, please don't quote me.
No.
Maybe it's like $25,000 per year, but that's still relatively cheaper than what it probably is for an out-of-state student studying at UMass Lowell. But private schools are anywhere from 65 upwards of 110,000 per year.
Per year.
Per year.
And what about the postgrad?
Well, PhD is fully subsidized. You get a stipend. But postgrad is the same way. Law school is also expensive.
How much on an average?
I think med school, I remember UMass Med. If you were UMass Med doesn't matter if you're in-state or out-state. Again, I will have to research and I'll get back to you on that. But I think UMass Med was like 85 or 95,000 per year for medical school.
That's the annual
That is
salary,
cheaper.
no?
That's cheaper. There are like Quinnipiac was like 100K per year.
That's the average annual salary over here. Wow.
Colleges are expensive. And you have a federal loan system for both undergrad and so after you're done with your 12th grade, any of your colleges, government will give you money. You just have to make sure you show them that you are below the poverty line or below that certain income line to get 100% tuition covered. You also have scholarships that you can apply for, either merit-based that the school will give you, or financial aid, like socioeconomic based. And then you have your parents who will also contribute, because you won't be fully 18. Even if you're fully 18, if you say parents are going to contribute, they will contribute. So you have 3 venues to get the money. But most of the times, kids use the federal loan, or they pay 50 federal loan, 50 this. I mean, the federal loans are for life. The interest rate is like 6.8% or something. Like I have Fed loans. I have
Fed loan at 6.8%.
standard.
Okay.
Like that's my interest rate. I can refinance it with somebody else and get a lower interest rate, but it won't be with federal. Like,
okay, that's strange. The government loan should be lower, no? No? Okay.
It's a 6% interest rate when I started out, and it went up to 6.8.
I took my car at 2.8%.
I know, me too. My Mazda was only 2.8. I was like, damn. And I had to fight for getting a 4% interest rate for my Highlander, or not Highlander, RAV4. That guy was like 6%. I was like, you're going to give me 4%. I got a good credit score, buddy.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So
yeah, so it is a money pit.
Sure. Yeah, I realize
Like daycare is money pit, public school, a break, and then college is a money pit. Like you only get a break for 12 years. In that 12 years, you just need to save enough to pay for that. Otherwise, the kids are going to be in loan. Like I still have loans to pay off. I just don't think about them because I consider them like like my body part, like my appendix. That's there. It's there. I just pay attention to it every month. Be like, here, take it, go. Here goes my pocket money, go.
Sometimes I think I have the opportunity within my job that I can move to Europe.
Oh, they have really good school system. They're like,
it's
it is free. Oh, college is free.
You want to, so long as you want to study, it's free. It's like, wow.
I think it's something similar in Canada too.
Is it?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Canada
I
is
don't
too
know.
cold.
Hey, but they're giving you free school.
I agree. I can.
Free school and what's free healthcare, right?
Is it free? I don't like the healthcare in Canada.
Oh, you don't?
I don't like the healthcare over here as well.
I don't have any option. I have to.
Yeah. But anyways, okay. We have been talking about the school districts. Can you tell me how important the school districts are?
So, I think to any normal person that is not us, they probably wouldn't put too much emphasis on school district. Like they would, but it wouldn't be a deal breaker for where they can buy a house. But for our community, school district is important because the better the school district, which means the better the quality of education, the better the teachers, the better the quality of students. So less chances of your kid becoming for the lack of better words, a convict or a drug addict or go in the opposite direction. But with all that being said, school district is important because my parents, when they moved to Iowa, they looked at, or moved out of Iowa to Massachusetts, they looked at school district because my brother was in school at that point, like as in between, he was in 9th grade at that point. I was in college, so it doesn't matter for me. So they chose Acton, Boxborough, because that was a really good school district, and also the housing prices were affordable. So we moved to Acton, and Acton is still one of the really good school districts
Sure.
in the state. And my brother got a lot of opportunities here. His teachers were really good. They were challenging him. The types of extracurriculars he got offered were really good. The types of camps he was offered were really good. And the amount of funding that went into that school was really good because they had a bar to maintain. Lowell, not a great school district. The kids who go there are from really different socioeconomic backgrounds. They are like kids at risk, or their parents are, for the lack of better words, junkies or drug addicts or in the gangs or something. And for those, and that's an okay school district, because the teachers don't put in as much effort. They're there because they have to be there. They teach like they have to, but it's not like they're going to make an effort. There are a few teachers in those school districts that make an effort to help out the students, to get them off the streets, to protect them. But I mean, not all schools in Lowell are like that. There are certain schools that are really bad in Lowell compared to, please, anybody in Lowell, don't come at me, please.
Okay.
But yes, for a certain group of people, school districts matter.
Sure.
Even in Americans, some people really value school districts. If they're from a really very strong educational background, they prefer a good school district, because the type of Americans that live here are kind of different from the Americans that I've interacted with in the Midwest, and they're more Indians because they're more family oriented, they're more school oriented, so it's really fun. Again, that's another topic.
Sure. So here's the thing. You said that a lot of these school districts are not up to the mark.
Yes.
And because of which the students then don't get the right opportunities what they might get in a good school district. Now these kids, but anyways, they go through the education system.
Yes.
They come to a point where they will be giving their ACT, SAT, whatever, and they might not do well because they hadn't had great opportunities. How does the government help these kids with their career in spite of being low in SAT and ACT? Is there, or are they left like that, in the sense your scores are low, you cannot do this,
So
do
there
what
are,
is possible?
Yeah, there are social workers in those low lying schools, or the schools that are underperforming. The government sends in social workers to see what is going on, to see how the schools can be improved, or the mayor has more focus on those schools. They will do a walkthrough, they will talk to the students, they will get feedback and see. And through those channels and those efforts, they will help the kids. Because those kids didn't, some of those kids might have the motivation to want to go to college. Some of them just are I'm okay, I just want to graduate high school and get a GED. So the way the state will help them out is by making them go to get a trade job. They can become an esthetician. They can go to beauty school. They can go to they can go become a plumber or an electrician, or they can go into contract jobs. So if they will offer such trade school pathways, or they will encourage them to go into community college to get their associate degree.
What's a community college?
So you have regular universities. And
You're talking about undergrad, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have what they call community college. Again, I cannot remember the exact qualification that makes a community college a university, but they offer 2-year courses, like a certificate courses, like an associate course. It is still a college, but it doesn't meet all the requirements in terms of teaching capacity, curriculum capacity, student capacity that would make it a university.
And I'm assuming they are cheaper than
Yes,
the
they
regular
are.
schools.
Yeah, they're cheaper.
Are they free or cheaper?
No, they're cheaper. They're not free. But if they are from a lower economic background, the government will subsidize it for them, through the loan program or something like that.
So the undergrad schools, as I understood, were of 2 types. One private and one is a state.
Yes.
Within the state, now you have got the proper undergrad schools, and
Yes.
then you have got community colleges.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So say in Massachusetts, there is a Middlesex Community College. Then there is a UMass system. So UMass Amherst, UMass Lowell, UMass Dartmouth, UMass Boston, UMass Worcester, and I think UMass Worcester is mostly medical school.
And UMass is the state school.
University of Massachusetts, yeah, UMass. And then you have your private colleges, Harvard, MIT
Sure.
are your Ivy Leagues. And then you have BU, BC, Babson, Berkeley, Bentley, Worcester Polytech, WPI, Northeastern, MCPHS, Mass College of Health and Pharmacy, MCPHS, and a few more that I'm probably forgetting, but these are all what's in the state
Perfect.
of Massachusetts.
Yeah. Got it.
Um,
No, great. I think we had pretty long discussion today.
Yeah.
I will try to end this. I mean, this can go on for
yeah.
an hour. So I will try to end it with one last question.
Okay.
Okay. And this is about the Ivy League colleges.
Yeah.
Alright? And I have a bias against Ivy League
Yeah.
colleges. I truly feel that they are Ivy League because of the students, the quality of students what they get. I don't think that they teach anything different as compared to other
I agree.
colleges. I need your view on that.
Okay. Are you comparing them with colleges in India or even with colleges within the US?
Both.
Okay. So Ivy Leagues, the brief history behind them, they were created by a group of white people to prevent other people of color or lower socioeconomic background or even gender, because females were not allowed in the school for the longest
Wow.
of times. That was basically like a brotherhood, like a fraternity, where only the people who are qualified and worthy enough can come and study there. So that was the whole idea behind that Ivy League when it was formed. So I think the Ivy Leagues, we know Princeton, Cornell, Harvard, MIT. I think UPenn is also an Ivy League, and then Stanford technically became an Ivy League later, but they were originals. But Yale, Dartmouth, there we go. I think I was like, I'm forgetting some. Beautiful campuses, mind you.
Sure.
I love their campus, like Cornell, Ithaca. But yes, like you said, it's been there for centuries and centuries and centuries. It's pumped out businessmen, senators, like the most powerful family in America probably matriculated in one of the Ivy Leagues, like Rockefellers. I mean, they have their own university, but I'm pretty sure Rockefeller came from one of the Ivy Leagues. Or Vanderbilt family. Vanderbilt, again, has their own college, but they also came from here.
Sure.
So it is literally a sorority. Yes, whatever is matriculated in Ivy League is what's probably matriculated in IITs of India or
Sure.
other state colleges. But the quality of teachers they get, the quality of students they get, they hunt down for a certain type of students. And like the amount of alumni power there is for those schools, the amount of funding they get because of their name, that's what I think separates them. Like, I did not matriculate personally in an Ivy League. I just worked at 2 Ivy Leagues. But the connections I have, they get me to places that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten if I was
Sure.
just at UMass Lowell. Like, collaborations, easy. Tap into that network, I get a collaboration. Scientific help, easy. Tap into that network, I get scientific help. I need a core facility, easy. Tap into that facility, I get that core facility access.
Wow.
So I think what makes an Ivy League is not just the quality of education, but the hype surrounding it. I mean, any product like diamonds is just a damn stone.
Yeah.
It was pressurized. It's a high pressure stone.
Yeah.
We made diamonds what they are today.
Yeah.
Diamonds are a lady's best friend. You need a diamond to go down on one knee to get married. Otherwise, that girl's not even gonna look at you, right? You
Yeah.
need the biggest diamond on the planet on my finger because I'm Beyonce and he's Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I think that's the same concept. Like, Santa Claus is Santa Claus because we made Santa Claus. Santa Claus is not even a thing, right? So I think the whole concept behind Ivy League is because what we made them to be, what we hyped them
Wow.
up to be,
Yeah.
and what the society views it as. You go to an Ivy League, it's like, I made it. Mom, I made it. Dad, I made it. Like, I'm in that fraternity. I'm in that sorority.
No.
So I think, like, they get the same amount of people. They get the same, but I think they hunt down for extremely smart people and take them away from the countries that they're from. Like,
Yeah.
because people want to go here. Like,
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
at a point in time, I wanted to go to Harvard. I was like, oh my God, Harvard. Like, oh, I remember the first day I joined, I was like, Papa, I'm walking in Harvard halls. Ah!
No, I had the same feeling for the first time I came in US 2021. I mean, before I had come, but as a tourist. But
Right.
this time I came because I was moving.
Right.
And when I came here, I spent a lot of time walking in the campus of Howard
Oh
and
my
MIT.
God, yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'm living the dream.
Like a kid in a candy store, right?
But I cannot actually put in better words as compared to you the way you have talked about these Ivy Leagues. I think what they did is a great branding story.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, it's a brand they have created. Now I crave for that particular
Yeah.
brand, but you have to be the best
Yes.
to get that particular brand. And it's a vicious cycle.
You have to. So before, I think it was easier, but as the competition has built over the years, now you just have to do ridiculous things to get into an Ivy League. Like, I mean, I would have had to have written a goddamn symphony if I have to get into a music school in Harvard. Like for the music, Ivy League of Music is Juilliard's in New York and Berklee College of Music in Massachusetts. And if I have to get into one of those, I think I would have had to host like 5 concerts.
Wow.
With like Zakir Hussain or something.
Yeah.
I have to make myself stand out.
But that's the point. You are getting the best of the students.
Yes.
You don't have to do anything to
Yes.
them. They come out, they are going to, even if they didn't go to Harvard or any of these Ivy Leagues, they would have done
really great.
Right?
They would have made some other university great. Harvard just wanted that.
Absolutely. And now because they're in Harvard, whatever they do, all the credit goes to Howard.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, you came out of Harvard. Nice.
But with this, I think let's end today's podcast. I know it has been a marathon, but I enjoyed a lot because I learned a lot. I've got a small kid and he will go through a lot of these steps what Adi explained today. And I hope that her explanations would be extremely insightful for you if you're thinking of raising your kids in US. Okay. With this, I would like to end today's podcast. But before I end, I would like to take her feedback in terms of how did you like today's discussion?
I liked it. It was really fun. I hope I wasn't talking too fast.
No, you weren't.
Okay.
You weren't. And you are full of knowledge.
Oh,
and
thank you.
she has 2 characteristics. I said the 2 characteristics. One is the she. Okay? And the other characteristic is that she is extremely knowledgeable. And the reason why I'm saying is that we actually met each other through a group called as the Royals South Asian Indians.
Hey, Royals.
And her name is Adi. And in India, a lot of guys have got Adi as name.
My name is Adeshwari. I go by Adi.
Sure.
That's why nobody knows my full name.
And because Adeshwari is Adi on her WhatsApp name,
And no DP.
And no DP, a lot of people confuse her to be a guy. Okay, so in the WhatsApp group of South Asia, whatever, Royal South Asian Indians, everybody's like, "Hi, bro, how are you?"
Hello, sir.
Okay,
I'm busted now.
Girls approach her, I think, DM her, thinking that she's a guy. So she's busted in this podcast.
I mean, if you guys watch it, I'm busted.
Yeah.
Many of you don't watch it. I still maintain my
perfect
anonymity.
Absolutely. So if this podcast doesn't go viral, she's not.
I think you'll make it go viral. You'll probably put my face.
Just for this, I'm going to try my best and make it viral. Okay. But anyways, the intent of this podcast was completely educational. I hope that you get all the insights which are necessary for you to raise your kids in this new land for you. With this, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for watching this show. Thanks, Adi, for helping us.
Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
If any questions, post in the comment and I will answer it on his page.
All right, bye.
Bye.